Hey everyone, welcome to another Angry Artist podcast. Since I have a lot of questions with fans, I wanted to answer more of them in this video. This question comes from a user named SunShiny-Sunflower from Deviantart. And her question is, how did you decide that art is what you wanted to do, and if you had the chance to start over, would you change your career path? So the easier answer is the second part, and I will say I will not change my career path for whatever reason. I had a lot of choices from high school to college, and I chose to do arts, much to the dismay of my family, but I like doing art way too much to stop. So the first part is a little bit more elaborate and a little bit more personal. How did I decide that I wanted to do art? And it will be a question everyone will be asking themselves. Just what inspires you, really? And everyone will have their own little thing. So some people might have started art to show off. Some people just like the act of doing art. And maybe even I've heard stories where some people even wanted to impress their crush in high school or something, and they ended up loving it. Now, for me, personally, the reason why I like doing art is, first of all, of course, I enjoy the act of doing it. I love the process. I love that you start from a blank canvas and you start working, and eventually it results in something that really speaks to you personally. Um, there's a constant improvement to really drive my work to the next level, to express my feelings in a better way. And that motivation keeps me going. The other thing is, I just couldn't see myself in an office job. I saw that there's a lot of freedom in being a freelancer, and yes, that's something I really, really wanted to do. I was never really a studio person. I went into college knowing that I wanted to be an independent freelancer. I'm not the type to sit still and do my work and go home from a 9 to 5. I like the fact that there's a bit of gamble when it comes to freelancing, and I like the fact that every gig is different. It's not just a little bit of grind here and there, and every day is the same type of thing. If you read my comic series, heavenswinter.com, you'll realize that a lot of things that Red Riding Hood says is pretty much my viewpoint on it as well. School was a burden for me, but it was minimalized by the fact that I just love doing art, and that's the only thing. Of course, there's the other thing that I like to sometimes tell people, and it's the idea that I like just having a product created. If I were to be just a typical accountant or something else, I feel like the results of their work doesn't always come out very well. And I'm not undermining every other industry. I just like the fact that there's something that is created from your effort and that you can physically see and others can appreciate. Since I answered the question pretty quickly, I wanted to elaborate and branch off from it and talk about motivation in general. As someone who is 27 years old, I've seen a lot of people fall off from doing art. And what I mean by that is they might stop before they go to college, but there's some that just go to college and they find out art isn't for them. Or maybe they find out in another university that they like doing art and they want to change. So, a lot of cases, motivations are very complicated and it's individual for each person. You have to decide just how much it's worth doing art. But in this podcast, I really want to explain what art as a job isn't. And a lot of people from high school get into the wrong mindset. And when I try to teach them, they will understand that maybe art isn't for them. The problem is when you're doing art personally, of course, it's very enjoyable. It's personal, there's no risks, there's no stakes at hand, and you're just doing it for yourself. There's no pressure. It becomes a relaxing hobby. Now, to transition from that is a different story, and most people find out way too late that maybe it's not for them. You have to understand that, yes, I do like doing the act of art, but it doesn't mean that I can't do it as a job, and that's different. When money is involved, when pressure's on you to design that character, you will have to act. And you have to somewhat enjoy it, no matter what circumstances it is. I've had clients where I really don't like doing the work. And I will admit it. And if you're a client listening to this, don't take it personally. I can still do the job no matter what. And I won't lie about liking something or disliking something. I'm honest. Anyways, there are gigs where I just do it for money. And you have to be able to be motivated by just doing things for money at times. It's going to be hard. And it's not going to be different from any other job that you do. You're just doing it soullessly. Now, that's something that people are not going to experience until they reach a college level, assuming they go to a great art college that pressures them. In my days in Sheridan College in animation, I had a lot of assignments where I just didn't want to do it. And you have to. You just have to. In school, you're doing it because you don't want to waste tuition as well as you want the marks to graduate. When it's out in the world, your quality cannot suffer by any means because you don't want to do something. And that's the job part of it. Of course, there's a lot of things I enjoy doing when it comes to doing this as a job. Just don't assume everything will be all unicorns and rainbows. If you can understand that early, then you will make a better judgment when you're trying to go into art. The interesting part is everyone's motivations are different. There are a lot of people who are much better at coping with job environments than I am. I am a freelancer for a reason. It's just that when a lot of high schoolers come to me for advice or ask me for answers, they don't realize there's a lot of pressure when it comes to doing art, just like in any other job. If you want to keep your hobby where you can just do it for fun and you'll be happy doing the act, then keep doing art as a hobby. But don't go into this industry thinking that it's gonna feel good all the time. And some people I know dropped off simply because they couldn't handle the fact that they're gonna lose a great hobby. And they're gonna have to replace it with something else. For me, art was a hobby when I was in elementary and high school. But when it started becoming a job, I took up MMA just so that I have something to release the pressure. You're gonna have that type of stress when you do this professionally as well. You have to be motivated no matter what. And my motivations, luckily, are independent of the fact that it's a job. Because I just like doing arts. I like the fact that I create all these visual things that people seem to enjoy. But that's not true for everyone. And generally, and I hate to admit it, it comes a lot from people who see art as something to make them happy. Because once it goes into professional territory, it's not always going to be that. The path isn't easy by any means. Again, in the previous podcast, I talked about the competition. The competition is pressure. You're always going to compare yourself to other people, no matter what people tell you. They're always going to see their own art and see how they're going to improve so that the market will enjoy it better. If you like that type of competition, and for me, I treat it as a challenge, but others don't, then there's really nothing that can stop you from doing art professionally. If there's one thing that I want people to get out of this particular podcast, I want people to really dig deep and understand why they're doing art. It might take many years to figure it out, but I am confident that everyone, upon self-reflection, will reach the point where they can do art. If you have the passion to improve and have something to gauge your skills and improvements at, then art is right there up your alley. Just understand that, of course, repeating the rest of the video, when you take it to the next level, when the pressure's on you to create good art for somebody's game or somebody's film, that your quality doesn't suffer, even in circumstances that you may not enjoy it. Anyways, thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time.